Today I'm going to be making a video that's different than normal. I'm making a video on the American penal system, um, but it's kind of hard to explain because I don't have a huge opinion. Like, I'm not one of those people that says, "Oh, we need to do this with the penal system," or "We need to do this with the penal system." Like the two opposing sides of what we should do with prisoners instead of like sending them to prison, and how our prison system is really corrupted and stuff. I was watching a documentary by Louis Theroux or something like. I'm not sure how to say his last name. He's a British journalist who he goes into these different situations and does different reports on different types of anything really. Like he did some on like the Nazis on the Westboro Baptist Church. I felt so bad for him on that one. Law and order, or law and disorder in different cities, including around the world. And he's done a couple in jails and prisons. And it showed really in depth about what the system is like for these prisoners. And it's honestly disgusting. And here's why. This is my problem with the penal system. I don't have a solution. I'm just simply opposed to what we're doing right now. Something needs to change, and I'm not sure what needs to change exactly and what it needs to be changed to. I don't have the knowledge to appeal to that, as I don't know all that much about the penal system and what is required for punishments to be served and to actually be worthwhile. But basically, here was the problem. So I first watched a documentary on the jail system. For those of you that don't know, the jail system is for the people who are not prosecuted yet. So the people who haven't gone to court. They are said to have committed a crime, but they're innocent until their court date, and that's when they are either decided to be found guilty, where they go to prison, or not guilty and they're released. And in the jail system, it was there was different levels. It was like 5 or 6 different floors, and it was based on the type of crime that you were allegedly committed. And the 5th and 6th floors were like the multiple murders, rapes, stuff like that. The really hardcore stuff. And further down was the more calm, like just people who were there for like a little bit, not super high risk prisoners. And so Louis focused mainly on the top floor, the places where it was really dangerous people. And it was, not to be racist here, but mostly blacks in these areas. And this could have had to do, I think it came from a place where it was a high population of African Americans. So that it was probably mainly because of the higher population higher percentage population of African Americans. So there was more African Americans there. Just like in an area where there's more white people, there'd probably be more white people there. I don't think race really plays an issue in this, but I'm not going to really go into that. But it was mostly African Americans, and Louis would be talking to some of them, and they would be discussing a system that exists there. And this system has to do with respect, for one, and for two, no snitching. And basically, when a cell could have anywhere from, I think it was like 6 to 20 people or more, and so it would be like this room, basically this room with bars around it, and then there'd be beds, and then like a bath or a toilet. And when someone was moved to a new cell, they would have to sort of prove themselves, and so they would fight. Oftentimes, everyone in the cell. And everything in there, all the politics of the cell, each cell was basically ran like its own little government. It was all based around violence. And so these people would be thrown in here after committing a violent crime into this incredibly violent environment where they basically have to fight for their safety. They literally have to fight for their safety. And it was like that on quite a few different floors, in different ways. Each cell had its own guidelines and rules, and you just had to figure it out as you went. Kind of messed up. And there was a relatively similar situation with the prison system. It had a lot to do with respect. Although I noticed in the prison system there was a lot more gang activity as opposed to the jail system, where there wasn't quite as much. In the prison system, people really got into gangs and looked out for each other. In the jail system, they mainly were just in groups, just like in their cellmates, or in their cell with their cellmates. Just that's who their quote unquote gang was. And then if they were moved, then they just were not in that gang anymore. And it was just all of this was based around violence. So my problem stems from that fact right there. This is supposed to be rehabilitation. That's what prison is for. Jail and prison are for, mainly. I know some people will claim, it's to make our society safer by getting these people out of here. But the people who serve, like, let's say I committed a crime of fraud. I think for fraud, I would get like somewhere like 5 to 10 years. I'm not sure, actually. I don't know enough about the legal system to know about fraud. But like, fraud isn't a violent crime. Fraud is something where I basically scam some people out of a certain amount of money. And I think that amount would probably depend on, or would probably decide how long my sentence was. But like, let's say I got 5 to 10 years in prison. As a 19-year-old, that would mean I'd get out between 24 and 29. And so I still would have a lot of my life left after that. And so this is more of a punishment system, or rehabilitation system in my sense. They want to rehabilitate me. There are people who commit violent crimes who are also able to get out at the end too. Assault. Usually assault, you're not facing life in prison. It's more for like murder and like rape and stuff like that you face those really long sentences. But it is about rehabilitation. And so someone who, a lot of these people are born and raised in a very violent environment, and that's why they commit these crimes, is they're born and raised, with shootings happening on every corner every day, drugs being sold constantly, and they're just thrown into this life of crime. And we want to rehabilitate them. And so we throw them in a system having to do with violence. So someone who committed a violent crime, killed someone or assaulted someone, beat someone up, is thrown in jail, and then, or prison, and then they have to fight for their life and fight for their safety and respect. And then they come out of prison expected to be rehabilitated. I definitely don't think the current system rehabilitates at all. I think that person is going to come out and be more likely to commit a violent crime than less likely. Now, I could be wrong about that. I've never faced prison time, so I can't speak for that, but that's just my interpretation of it. Being around a violent environment is what causes these people to commit these crimes in the first place. Being raised in a violent environment, living in a violent neighborhood, living with a gang, being around drug trafficking, it all has to do with violence and crime. And then you throw them into a place where, guess what? There's more violence and crime. And they're supposed to be rehabilitated. That just doesn't seem right to me. If you want to rehabilitate, you'd have to find a different way to do it. One solution already would be to separate these people altogether. Somehow individual cells or something. I don't know. This is why I don't have the knowledge to look at prison sentences and be like, okay, well, this is what we should do to the prison system and the jail system to fix it. That's something that someone who actually studies this type of thing would have to do. But that's just kind of my problem. It's something that I had a problem with while watching the video. It's just the violence of the whole system. As well as someone like me. I'm a very, look at me, very skinny white guy. If I went to, I wouldn't commit murder, but let's say I was accused of murder. Someone framed me. If I went into that system, I'd be dead. I guarantee I would be beat up unmercifully every day until eventually I died. And I would just be thrown into this violent system. So I'm not a violent person at all. I'm borderline pacifist. And I would probably emerge from this prison system a very violent and terrified person, or at least more so. But that's just my opinion on things. Let me know what you guys think about the prison and jail system in the U.S. Other than that, thanks for watching. Make sure to comment, rate, and subscribe, and have a nice day.